Okay, to drop the fuel tank, I've come in from the passenger side looking at the fuel tank, and there's two straps. There's one nut there and there's another there. So what we'll do is put a little bit of penetrating catalyst on there just to make sure we don't strip anything out and everything's in good shape. So we'll release those two straps. There's the other one again, and so that we can get to the top. But before we do this, we'll actually pull the fill lines off the tank. Now we're on the driver's side looking at the tank here, and what we need to do is pull the fill lines off. So you'll notice that there's a couple of couplings right there that we'll pull off. So we'll loosen them, and then we'll put a little penetrating catalyst on there so we don't destroy them, and then pull those off, and then we'll go about loosening the straps. Okay, so now we have the collars off. Did that with an 8mm socket there, and we're about to put the penetrating catalyst in that rubber hose to soften it up. Okay, so what I did was I used a flathead screwdriver to peel a little bit of a space on that rubber hose, and then I could spray the penetrating catalyst in there. And now I'll just slide the hose back that direction on both of these. Okay, once again we're from the driver's side looking at the fuel tank. I've set up a floor jack here since we're about to release the straps to take the weight. There is about a quarter tank of fuel in there, and that's going to be 60-ish pounds when we consider it. So we don't want that dropping on our heads. Okay, we're about to take this strap off. There's the forward strap. This is the one we're going to start with. It's a little bit more difficult to get to, therefore be a little bit easier to start with that one. And that is going to be a 13mm socket with an extension. You'll never get past the drive shaft. If you don't, it'll be a pain in the head. And then we'll shift down towards the rear strap, catch that one. We have the strap loose, and what I did was I just ran that nut back up in there, that bolt back up in there, just a couple turns. That way it's easy to find, don't lose it, and I know which one belongs to which. Just hopefully as a tip to make your life a little bit easier. Now when we lower this, you want to note that there's still some wiring attached to this fuel sending unit up at top. I'll show that to you in just a second. And we don't want to rip that off, so we're only going to lower this tank up part of the way. Alright, I don't know if you can see that so well, but that's the fuel sending unit up there. We want to be super careful with that. That's why we're only lowering the tank part of the way so we can reach it. Okay, now we have lowered the fuel tank far enough so that from the driver's side we can see the fuel lines coming down. In order to pull these off, you're going to need a fuel line disconnect tool, basically to depress the one-way springs in there, and then we'll be able to hit that wiring harness. The plug is just on the other side of the frame up here, and we'll be able to pull that off. Okay, of note, we have two different fuel line sizes here, so when we reconnect we want to be careful, and that requires two different disconnect tools. And you'll also know that there's a lip here, so your disconnect tool is going to come all the way to the lip, it'll snap in there, and then you'll just be able to pull that line right off. Okay, now that we've got the fuel tank lowered all the way to the ground, we're going to go ahead and detach the strap here, and it runs in this way. So we'll put an extension on, remove it, and then here's the other end of the strap. This is the front end of the strap on the driver's side of the frame. Right there, we're going to pull that one off. That's going to be the same 13mm as before. That's important because that's how you're going to slide the fuel tank out. With the shape of it and all, it just doesn't, without lifting the truck, I mean if you want to you can, it just doesn't fit under the drivetrain, the rear axle, so we want to pull it out on the driver's side. So